Hi, this is Joshua Walker. My project is on Walter Johnson Middle School Media Center. The school is located in Morganton, North Carolina, which is in Burke County in the western part of the state, about an hour and a half west of Charlotte. After analyzing my data, I pulled out the 5 most relevant pieces of information and I present those here in my infographic. This is only the rough draft of my infographic, so it's not quite in the order that the final product will be in, and I've also left some spaces for information that I might wish to add. And as we go through the infographic, on the left will be the community data, on the right will be the state data. I'm going to begin by discussing the ethnicity data, which is the most significant information for my project. This data really tells the story of the demographic shifts that Morganton has undergone in the last few decades. As we look at the data, we can see that the community data aligns with the state data in many aspects. However, the departures are significant. In Morganton, the Hispanic population is approximately 20% compared to the state, which is about 10%. And the school too reflects this demographic. At the school itself, over 50% of the students are Hispanic. And as I stated previously, this data really tells the story of a very significant demographic shift that has happened in Morganton over the last few decades. If you were to go back to the early to mid 90s, this data would look significantly different. Morganton's data would be closer to the state percentage, if not dramatically less than that percentage. Why is this? Well, in the surrounding areas of Morganton, there are numerous poultry farms. Within Morganton itself, there is a poultry processing plant called Case Farms. The plant has been there about 70 years. In the early to mid 90s, the plant started recruiting immigrants to work in the factory. These immigrants were primarily Guatemalan. It was this event specifically that led to the dramatic demographic shift. And this demographic shift will have profound impacts on the school and its planning. Now, moving down to population growth, while the immigrant population increased dramatically, the overall population grew very slowly, as we can see here. Morganton's growth rate was 3.2% compared to the state growth rate of 9.4%. This data and the data that follows tells another very important story about the Morganton community. Morganton grew and developed in tandem with the textile and furniture industries. As those industries grew rapidly throughout the last century, so did Morganton up through the 1970s. In the 1980s and 90s, however, those jobs were increasingly offshored. This led to economic stagnation and limited opportunities within the community itself. Many people left to pursue opportunities elsewhere, and this can be seen in the slow growth rate. If we move down to the economic data, we can see the continuation of this story and its significant impact on the community. The median household income in Morganton is $42,000 compared to the state median income of $54,000. This is a direct result of the decline in the industrial base upon which Morganton was built. As those jobs left, low-paying service jobs remained. As might be expected, the decrease in income led to an increase in the poverty rate. Morganton's poverty rate is 25%, 1 out of every 4 people, compared to the state rate of 13%. Moving to the education section, again, this data departs significantly from the state data. In Morganton, only 77% of the population has completed high school, while 23% has completed a 4-year degree. That compares to the state data, where 88% have completed high school and 31% have a 4-year degree. This data, too, derives from the industrial base upon which Morganton was built. When the textile and furniture industries were thriving, it was common for people to leave school and go directly into the workforce. The older population has driven down the high school data we see here of 77%. Even today, though, it's not uncommon for students to graduate high school and go directly into the workforce without any college or training. This, I believe, is a cultural impact. If your parents did not pursue postgraduate training or college, and your grandparents did not pursue that course either, then you are more likely to do the same. So that is the community data. And actualities that underlie the data have had a profound impact on the school itself. As I mentioned previously, the school has more than 50% Hispanic population. It also is a Title I school, and a majority of the students come from an impoverished background. These actualities need to be reflected in the school's media center and in its collection. From my preliminary research, these actualities are not reflected at all, and it is this that my research and my project will focus on.